Hello, I'm Mark Scalero, the owner of MS Classic Cars. Today I'm sitting behind the wheel of an absolutely spectacular 1997 Dodge Viper GTS Coupe with 17, that's 17, original one-owner mileage. This particular car, as I think many people will agree, is a poster child of the Dodge Viper brand in the regard that when these cars came out, this vehicle being a 97, people refer to it as a second generation Viper. It was really a vehicle that a lot of people dreamed about, me included. A lot of people probably had posters of these cars on their walls, took out magazine articles and saved them, aspiring to one day own one of these cars. Over the years, I've been looking at getting into a Viper GTS, but what I have found is that a lot of these cars weren't properly stored, they weren't properly used, a lot of them were involved in accidents, they've had paint work, we can go on and on. So I've been waiting for that right car to come across, and I finally found it here today with what I believe to be possibly the lowest documented 97 Viper GTS Coupe known in the world to exist. Again, the car has 17 original miles. So let's get into this presentation here. Please keep in mind this is a non-rehearsed video. Everything I'm telling you is just information I've learned about the car in the time that I've owned it. I would highly advise, because I probably will forget to mention some things throughout the presentation, to visit our website at msclassiccars.com. I have a full description that I've written on this car, which goes over everything in full detail. We have a ton of highly detailed photos that you can check out as well. Of course, this video and the video that we're doing here today is going to also include an exterior walk-around presentation with an electronic paint meter, so I can show everybody that the car does indeed retain the original factory Viper Red paint. So getting into this binder, every vehicle that I sell at MS Classic Cars is a number 1 or number 2 condition vehicle. Clearly this is a number 1 condition vehicle that we're sitting in here today. I make these binders. This is a brand new binder with brand new plastic sleeves. I always include the description that I write inside here so people can reference it in the past. What I have here is actually a letter from the original owner. He kind of told the story of this car. We actually posted this within our description, so you can read that out as well. This here is the Carfax report. This car does have a clean Carfax report. MS Classic Cars is a Carfax dealer, so I printed this, which clearly shows the history of this car. It documents the miles and so forth. We also have the original window sticker to the car, which is included. We have a retail buyer's order. We have an odometer statement disclosure. We also have a sales tax transaction return slip from the state of Illinois when the car was bought new. We have a Chrysler Customer One Care warranty pamphlet here, We have a couple of original envelopes from the Viper Club of America, which the original owner belonged to. I saved those. And also, this is the service that was performed to this vehicle in 2011. To tell you how particular the original owner was, he changed the oil in 2011, and after the oil was changed, and he did really a full service here. I think he invested a little over $1,000 as indicated. Most of the service work that was done was all just things that had to be done, such as fluids and so forth. He took the oil that was in the car and he sent it to this company called Blackstone Laboratories. They do an oil report on the vehicle, and that information is in here as well, which is really cool. So all of that information, including a few other things like the original dealer tag, which is key tag, is here. This is the original bag where the remotes were stored in. Both remotes for this car are included, the original keys, original keyless remotes. And I also have this box here. I just used a shoebox for a new pair of shoes I bought. Kind of stored everything nicely. We have the owner's manual. Again, all this information I'm showing you can be seen in our photo gallery of the car, but we got the owner's manuals all here. We also have the rear view mirror. If anybody recognizes in our photos that we don't have a rear view mirror in this car, there's a reason for it. It was very common with this generation car that the rear mirrors would fall off. At some point it fell off. He kept it. I did not feel comfortable putting this rear view mirror back on the car, putting it in a slightly different location than maybe it was in the factory, and then having a bunch of people comment on the fact that maybe the windshield was replaced or whatever the case might be. So I decided to keep the rear view mirror off the car. The new owner can put it on once they figure out exactly where it was supposed to go. It also has the original license plate brackets, which are still sealed in the original plastic. Some of the screws are here as well. So all of this information is also included with the car. Again, I packaged everything up in this box here that we will put inside. There's also a really nice car cover. It's a Dodge Viper GTS car cover that is included as well. So let's touch base real quickly on the story of this car. The first thing that everybody needs to know is they only made a total of 1,671 Dodge Viper GTS Coupes in 1997. So we're talking about a very, very slim number. As a lot of people know, if you don't know, they discontinued the Viper in 2017. Since they discontinued it, obviously the values have gone very high. This is going to become a very collectible piece as time passes on. So I would say that this is definitely a true blue chip investment. In this car, being that it is a 17-mile car with one ownership history, is a definition of a blue chip investment. So getting into the story of the car, I'm going to go ahead and just read this quickly. Sometimes people don't read the descriptions that we have on our website. They just kind of flip through photos, watch videos. So for that person, I'm just going to go ahead and read this here. The original owner wrote this to me. I purchased the car through a very good friend of mine who had a Dodge dealership in Indiana, but he was not authorized to sell the Viper. They found one of me through Renault Motors. Renault Motors is the original selling dealer. From the information I've gathered, they're one of the larger Viper dealers in the country. So the deal was it was going to be delivered. In the meantime, he didn't know if the car was going to come in or not. So he purchased another 97. He didn't know that the other car was still being worked on by his friend. So he didn't have a good, safe place for the car. So when it came into the dealership, he actually had it on display there for a while. So the original owner actually had two 97 Dodge Viper GTSs. One of the cars that he had gotten, the first one is the one that he drove. I think he put like 8,000 miles on that car over time. He made a decision with this vehicle to ultimately keep it as an investment piece, and that's exactly what he did. So again, finishing his story, they sold the dealership years later. I trailered it back to my house in Indiana. I stored it in a climate-controlled garage attached to my house for a few years. Really important. Huge, huge thing when we're talking about storing something in a climate-controlled facility. You will clearly see with the exterior paint of this car, it is absolutely spectacular. This is a color that does fade over time if it's not stored properly. These cars are known to show signs of deterioration, oxidation, things like that. you will see in all of our photos, the exterior, the interior, the engine bay, it truly looks like the day it rolled off the showroom floor. All the gaskets are soft. Everything is just in absolutely beautiful condition because he did keep it in a climate-controlled facility. Reading on here, it says, we did some remodeling. It was moved to a friend's house while it was under construction and then returned back to my garage. I began collecting a few other cars in the additional space. So I rented a climate-controlled warehouse and shop where the car was stored for many years. I still have a warehouse and shop, but moved it to my garage where you picked it up with a year ago with anticipation of selling the car, and it would be easier to show people the car and so forth. So that's kind of the story here. He does go on to say that it was serviced at Champion Dodge every time it was trailered to and from the dealership. So if anybody wants to know, when he bought the car, it had 10 miles on it. That's documented with the paperwork that I'm going to go over in a second. So in that time, only 7 miles was put on the car. So the answer is yes, the car was trailered anywhere it was going because he didn't obviously want to rack up the mileage. He wanted to keep it as low as possible. And then he said he brought it to a dealership locally to a Viper club to work on a club member's cars a few times a year. Even though the odometer said 10 on the title, which again is when he got it, it actually had 13 or 14 by the time he took possession because again it was stored at the dealership. They did move it from time to time when it was there originally. He said, I put the car in the garage when I got it from there and simply moved it on and off the trailer ever since. So that kind of is the story from the original owner for anybody who wants to know kind of the history of the car. Now the clean Carfax report here clearly shows that there's no accidents. It shows the history of when it was in Indiana. It shows in 2005 the car had 10 miles on it. It shows in 2011, which is when he had it serviced, it had 17 miles on it, which it still has today. This is the original window sticker. As I mentioned, the car was ordered Viper red with black interior. Obviously, this car came well equipped from the manufacturer. We put this window sticker on our website gallery page. You can read all the standard features. The only option that this vehicle had, which was a $300 option, was the cast aluminum polished 17-inch wheels, which are in beautiful condition. The original list price of this car was $70,000. From the information I gathered, dealers really struggled to get these cars. They were obviously limited production. They only went to certain dealers. Dealers were charging over sticker price for them. I think with his connection, he was able to buy the car for sticker price, so it shows here that he paid $70,000 for it. Of course, there was a luxury tax back then, and then there was sales tax. So when it was all said and done, it was a pretty hefty investment. So that is included. The odometer statement I mentioned earlier, which shows his information, and 10 miles on the car is included. The Illinois sales tax transaction return is included as well. And then flipping forward to the service, again, all of this is in our photo gallery, so you can clearly see that they changed the oil in the car. You know, they changed fluids like the coolant, they changed the clutch fluid, the brake fluid, et cetera, et cetera. So again, all that stuff was done. And the comment that was made at Blackstone Laboratories that I highlighted on the oil report, this was the original oil that was in the car. It was in the car for 14 years. It says here, we don't see anything here that shouldn't be present in factory oil. The metals are from wear-in of new parts, and silicone is from sand-casted parts in factory sealers. So they gave the car a great report on the original oil that was sent out to have it inspected. There's also this little ad here that was published. The legend continues with the Viper. They're talking from first generation to second generation. That's included as well. So getting into the actual vehicle itself, as I mentioned earlier, there's not a lot to talk about as far as this car is concerned because it is literally in showroom condition. So when you look at the outside body, it's free of any dings or dents. It is virtually flawless. I would say it's probably the nicest 97 vehicle I've ever seen. Considering it's 23 years old, this vehicle is nicer than the 2019 that I drive today. It is virtually flawless. We've done a great job at MS Classic Cars of giving the car a quick clay bar and polish. We didn't really have to cut the paint because it wasn't necessary. The original owner took great care of this car. Most of its life, it had the car cover that's included that you'll see within our gallery over the car to protect it. He did start the car occasionally, pulled it outside, things of that nature. So again, I'm going to do a paint meter presentation, which we can go ahead and do now and tie it into this video. What I want to do now was, I just want to do a quick walk around presentation of this outstanding Viper. As I've mentioned, this thing is in absolutely showroom condition. It is spectacular from front to back. It is the most beautiful vehicle I've ever seen from the 90s, and it is truly flawless. So what I'm going to do is walk around the vehicle, again, just start from the driver's side, make my way back over to the passenger side. I was going to use a paint meter on this car, which tests for original paint, and I just realized this vehicle is actually made of fiberglass paneling throughout, so the paint meter is not going to read at all. As an example, if you were to put the paint meter on the car, you know, it just registers a 0, so it's obviously not going to register with the paint meter. So what I'm still going to do is a walk around presentation here and just tell you if I notice anything. I will even mention if I notice a chip the size of a pencil tip, so you can get an idea of exactly how beautiful the paint is. So again, getting down toward the front bumper area, I don't see anything at all that stands out to me whatsoever that's worth mentioning. I don't see any imperfections in the headlights. Again, I'm looking for the tiniest little scratch. I'm looking for the tiniest little chip. I don't see anything at all that's worth mentioning on the hood. We'll kind of make our way over to the side of the hood. You know, this is all one piece. It folds up. Again, I don't see anything here. It's beautiful. Actually, if I get really close here with my fingertip, you can see that little imperfection here and little imperfection there. So there are two little spots worth mentioning there. Again, those are microscopic. The wheels are in beautiful factory condition. There's no blemishes on these wheels whatsoever. This is all a polished aluminum 17-inch wheel. Making our way over to the side. Again, I'm going to get up really close here. I don't see any imperfections to speak of on the door. These seals are like brand spanking new. Again, this paint is super brilliant. It has no signs of any fading or any signs of age. Again, I don't see anything worth mentioning on the roof at all. Again, getting over to the rear quarter section here, looking for the tiniest imperfections. Even behind here is flawless. Obviously, the car was never really driven, so no rocks got kicked up. There's no road rash. It's hard to determine if something's a piece of dust or not. I'm giving it a quick little blow there just to get some of the dust off. Again, no imperfections so far on the back bumpers. The rear deck lid here is beautiful condition. This is the original sticker that was put on by the selling dealer, which is still there. I don't see anything on the back. Making our way over to the passenger quarter. I don't see anything. Again, there's no chips in the inner wheel wells here. This seals on here is like brand new. It's really nice gas cap this vehicle's had. The glass is flawless. All of this is beautiful. All the moldings. The roof is spectacular. Again, getting down the side of the passenger door here, I don't see any imperfections whatsoever. Down by this lower molding, rocker rather, I don't see any imperfections to talk about. Basically, I mean, this is as flawless of a vehicle as you will ever find. Everything is in absolutely spectacular condition. Even the windshield is flawless. So once again, oh, I didn't mention the wheels on this side. I'll double check the back rim. This rim is absolutely perfect. Not one flaw. I'll check this wheel as well. Not one flaw. I'll check the other wheel back here just to make sure. No flaws in that wheels either. Check that out with the camera. I just want to make sure that those things I pointed out earlier are indeed, yeah. Those are the only two things on the entire car. Well, pretty spectacular considering it's 23 years old. Getting back to the exterior, the only thing that I'll say about this entire exterior of this car that I would say is not perfect, it does have the original tires. Because the car sat for so long in one position, you know, getting moved back and forth, it still sat in one position on the tires. So they do have spots on the tires, like flat spots. So when you do move the car forward, you can kind of feel the tires, and that is very, very normal for tires that are, you know, 23 years old. It's totally expected, but obviously these are the original tires and not something that you want to replace or discard, especially on a car with 17 miles. The other thing I'll mention is the rear glass does lift open on these cars, and the pumps for the rear glass are no longer working properly, so you have to hold the glass with your hand. When we took our photos, we did that so we could capture all the interior rear compartment area spots that we took photos of. So we didn't want to replace those hood pumps again, because once we start changing parts, we start taking away from its originality. I even made a comment to some of my employees that at one day down the road, we're fast forwarding 10, 20, 30 years from now, this car could possibly be the car that people use to put together judging forms and books on, where they want to know exactly the way the car was in the factory. This would be a perfect car to reference. So again, taking off things that are not original is probably not a smart idea, but the new owner can do that if he or she chooses to. Getting into the interior of the car, like I said earlier, this is like sitting in a brand new car. I will make a comment that I'm 6 foot. I sit in this car very comfortably. There's a ton of room in here. So I'm really surprised how comfortable this car actually is, but the interior is flawless. There's nothing for me to mention in this car. The headliner is beautiful. It doesn't show any signs of any sagging or anything, which was common again from vehicles in the 90s. The sun visors here are full, strong. They're not falling down or anything like that. The dash is free of any cracks. All the gauges are in working order. The air conditioning does work. The power windows work. The Alpine sound system does work. All of the lights, the wipers, the door locks, the keyless remote entry, everything is in working order in the interior. It even has the original airbag warning tag that has never been taken off. I can't say enough about this interior. It is hands down the best interior I've ever seen of a vehicle from this generation. Talking about the engine compartment, this car, one of the things that everybody knows about a Dodge Viper that makes it really bad to the bone, if you will, is it has an 8.0 liter V10 all aluminum engine, factory rated at 450 horsepower. It is quite the engine. This engine obviously has never even been broken in. It's something that is like like it was when it was brand new. The car's got 17 miles on it. Everything in the engine compartment is absolutely stunning. As I mentioned earlier, there's no signs of any deterioration of any parts or any oxidation. There's no rust that has started or anything like that. This car has been extremely, extremely well cared for, which is evident in the entire car from top to bottom. So the car starts up absolutely beautiful. I can't sit here and tell you that I've driven the car other than just off the trailer into the showroom, into the detail room, because again, I don't want to turn the miles and make it have more miles than what it already has. So I can't sit here and tell you I've driven the car on the road or the highway, but I can tell you every time that we start it, it starts right up. It purrs like a kitten. I did just add some fresh fuel to it. We did put some premium high-test gas in it, but other than that, it seems to be running excellent. The engine is coupled to a 6-speed manual transmission with overdrive, which is a great transmission. These are bulletproof. A lot of guys use these transmissions in these custom resto mods that they do today with classic cars. The clutch feels super in this car. Can't comment enough about that. Again, moving it around and everything, it just feels really nice. There's no chattering or anything like that. I really have nothing at all negative to say about this car whatsoever. It's really the best of the best. When you look at the undercarriage photos, you will clearly see, just like the engine compartment photos, that it still retains all of its original paint marks from the factory, all of its original stickers and tags and things like that. So again, you'll see how clean the undercarriage is. You could put mirrors under this car at a car show if you wanted to show it off. It's that nice underneath. And again, MS Classic Cars completely went through this car from head to toe when we got it. Regarding the detailing work, we normally service every car that we sell. That's kind of our claim to fame. But because this car was completely gone through and serviced and wasn't driven, we decided there really wasn't anything to do. There was really no point in bringing it to our service department, taking a chance on something happening, trailering it back and forth, changing oil. It's kind of like, what was the point of servicing a car with 17 miles on it? So we wanted to keep it as original as possible, and we wanted it to match all the documentation that's included in this binder. So that is my entire presentation of this car. As I mentioned earlier, this is a non-rehearsed video, so I might have forgotten some things. Please read the whole description on our website at msclassiccars.com. If you do not follow us, please make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. We have a VIP email blast that you can sign up for. We have thousands of people that are on our email blast, so you get notifications when we list vehicles for sale, like we're doing with this vehicle. And I'm going to end this video here before I go ahead and start the car and let you listen how beautiful it runs. I am going to tell you that we are selling this vehicle on a Bring a Trailer online auction. I made the decision today, just literally an hour ago, that I'm going to sell this vehicle at no reserve. What that means is the auction starts at 0 and the high bidder of the car wins it. We're going to go out in 2020 with a bang. The last couple of vehicles that we posted with Bring a Trailer, we listed at no reserve. It's been exciting, it's been fun, and I figured it'd be a great way to end 2020 with this Dodge Viper, and we're going to promote it that it's selling with no reserve. If you have any questions about how to register with Bring a Trailer, how to bid with Bring a Trailer, you can contact me. I'll be more than happy to go over that with you by phone or by email. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start it. Listen to this baby run. Starts right up. Absolutely purrs like a kitten. I really can't say enough about it. It sounds super, super nice. We appreciate you watching.